of the divine person is the divine essence, and the essence is simple, wouldn't it follow that there can only be one relation?
Should I answer this?
Yeah, distinguish between SA-add and SA-in. Is that how you would go about answering, is distinguishing between SA-add and SA-in?
Yeah, but I would add something else, and that's the confusion of absolute and relative distinction in God.
Mm.
So yeah, so when we say that the okay, there's a lot to unpack here.
That's fine. We got time. We got time.
Yeah, okay, so what? Okay, so the relation is accidental in creatures, right? So when we treat relation to God, we have to be careful that it cannot be accidental to God because there is no accidents in God. So what's a relation? Relation, in its definition, it's literally reference to another. So there's a relation and there's a correlative. It refers to another. Now, this relation has a twofold aspect. There's an aspect of relation called SAN, which means being in. So the relation has to exist, right? So in order for the relation to exist, it has to subsist in a subject because relation is an accident. An accident cannot subsist without subject. So relation of, let's say, relation of your father to you, he has a relation of paternity to you, and that paternity subsists in your father as an accident. Now, when we apply this to God, we're not going to say that God has accidents. Why? Because God is simple. So unlike the accidental existence of paternity in your father, the paternity of God the Father is going to have a substantial existence because the relation just is the divine essence. And since it's the divine essence, the being of the divine essence and the being of the relations are entirely the same. So the relation is in no way going to be accidental. Now, this is just the SA in or being in of a relation. Now we move on to SA odd. SA odd of relation is the aspect of relation to which it belongs to refer to another. So paternity refers to filiation or sonship, or fatherhood refers to sonship. This is called the SA odd or being towards. And in this way, the father is really distinguished from the son because the fatherhood and sonship are relatively opposed. And things that are opposed, they cannot be identified. But if you look, the paternity and the divine essence, and likewise filiation and the divine essence, they're not opposed to the divine essence. They're just opposed to each other. So they're going to identified with that third entity, namely the divine essence, but they're going to be opposed with each other because the formal concept of paternity and formal concept of filiation oppose each other. So it does not follow that there's one relation. Indeed, it follows the contrary, meaning that it follows the opposite, meaning that there are two relations because the paternity opposes filiation, but neither of them are opposed to the divine essence. Now, apply this to the Holy Spirit. The active aspiration is not opposed to the divine essence, so it's going to identify with the divine essence, but it is opposed to passive aspiration, which is the property of the Holy Spirit. So the Father and the Son, by their active aspiration, are going to be opposed to passive aspiration, which is the Holy Spirit, but neither of them are going to be opposed to divine essence, because divine essence is an absolute predicate, whereas the relations are relative, right? And although relative and absolute are one and the same in God, they're nonetheless logically or notionally distinguished. So you don't have to predicate what you predicate of the divine essence of the relation. So, like the classical example is this: the Father is the divine essence, but the Father begets, but the divine essence does not beget. So some conclude that the Father is not the divine essence. This reasoning does not follow because when we say begetting, since acts belong to persons, we cannot attribute personal action to the divine essence. We're not talking about real distinction of the person and essence in God. Rather, we're talking about mode of signification in the divine. Because begetting is a personal act, and essence in its mode of signification signifies abstract form, essence cannot stand for person in its mode of signification. So we never say essence begets, but we say that the Father begets, even though the Father and the divine essence are really identical. But nonetheless, they're notionally distinct, and that's why we don't say essence begets or is begotten or is aspirated. And now, so that's how we distinguish persons by relations, and it doesn't follow that there's one relation. It follows that there are many relations. There are four relations and three personal relations because these relations are opposed and it's impossible for them to be one relation. because where there's opposition, there has to be some formal distinction. Real distinction. And since the Father and the Son are opposed, and the same with active spiration and passive spiration, it follows that there are really numerically distinct relations. But neither of them are opposed to the divine essence. Therefore, it follows that everything that regards their essence is one. So one will, one intellect, one being, anything. But what regards persons or relations, that's going to be multiplied. And this is the dogmatic maxim of the Florentine Council, which says everything in God is one, where a relation of opposition does not prevent. So no, it does not follow that there is one relation. Rather, from our view, it follows that there are multiple relations. And this is how you can address LPT, or logical problem of the Trinity, by the way. And they say Father is the divine essence, Son is the divine essence, therefore Father is the Son. Well, it doesn't follow, because when we say that Father is the divine essence, we mean that Father is the divine essence in reality, not in notion. So the notion of paternity is going to be distinct from the notion of essence, even though they're in reality one and the same thing. Likewise, the notion of filiation or sonship is different from the divine essence, even though the sonship and the divine essence are really the same. And since this is the case, we have the concept of paternity, concept of filiation. And since they're not notionally the same as the divine essence, they're not going to be notionally the same as each other. That means paternity and filiation oppose each other. And that means they're really distinct, even though none of them are really distinct from the divine essence.